Hello, I'm Sharon Armstrong, Vice President of the Alberta Teachers Association. Recently, the ATA invited candidates for leadership of the Alberta Liberal Party to our summer conference to meet teachers and discuss their vision and ideas for public education. The first question we asked candidates was related to transformation in education. It read, Alberta is world-renowned as a top-performing jurisdiction in regards to public education. What do you think of the system today? And what are your priorities for change that would help ensure continued excellence? Our next question related to education funding. A number of grants for school boards were reduced or eliminated in the 2011 budget. As a result, hundreds of teachers across the province were laid off in June. Would a Liberal government under your leadership reverse grant cuts to school boards? And what principles will be used in the future to ensure stable, predictable, and sustained funding for schools? Finally, we asked candidates to discuss the future of the teaching profession. Our question said, the Alberta Teachers Association has been the professional voice of teachers for over 94 years. The ATA is a unified organization with both union and professional functions representing all teachers in Alberta's public, separate, and francophone schools. Do you support the continuation of the association in its current form? And what would your government do to further support the teaching profession in Alberta? Here now are the responses to our questions from leadership candidate Laurie Blakeman. Thank you for viewing.
Hi, my name is Laurie Blakeman. I'm the MLA for Edmonton Centre. I've been serving that fabulous constituency for 14 years, so 4 times elected. Education is very important to me, partly because I am the child of education. Both of my parents spent their careers in the Edmonton Public School Board, my mother in primary school, and my father coming into the system when they started the vocational sections in the high school. So he came in partway through his career as a tradesman and converted himself into a teacher. So I spent weekends fooling around in Jasper Place Composite High School in the welding booths and in the pipe trades hallway and with my mom in the different schools she was principal of. So education is so much a part of my life, I can't really separate it. But let me say that I really believe in it, and I think it is the key to our future. People talk about children being the key to our future. Yes, but really it's education is the key to our future, because that's how we can surmount some of the obstacles that we currently have, like an oil and gas-based sort of single system economy. That's how we're going to be able to deal with challenges of global economy, different languages and dealing with different cultures. The education is the key to it. So my biography is I'm the child of 2 teachers. I was an artist to begin with and then moved into social activism and then into politics. I have a lot of experience in the system itself, in parliamentary system. I'm very successful at getting things done, but I'm very pragmatic. And I'm pretty ruthless when I need to be, because it's about getting the stuff done. I'm here to change the world. And I don't have a lot of time, so let's get at her. I don't think there is a lot wrong with the system that we have right now. What's happened to us is that we're still dealing with 1950s institutions that we haven't really updated to deal with the complexities of where we are in 2011. So we have classrooms that are dealing with technology, which is both an asset and can be, a tremendous distraction, as you've got kids texting and how do you work that into homework schedules and things. But also things like health issues and socioeconomic issues, ESL, differently abled children. So our system is quite good, but it has some challenges that it is struggling to find out how best to address. I am very cautious about the government's move with its new proposed legislation. I think a lot of what they say sound good, and we would all support that, but frankly, I've been tricked before with how they redid healthcare repeatedly. So when they talk about responsibility for all of us, yes, of course, we all pay taxes for education. We all accept that responsibility. But usually in the government's hands, that means, or in the Tory government's hands, it means that we're all going to have to take another piece of the workload somehow. So I think we're already expecting teachers to be social workers and police officers and customs agents and ESL teachers and a whole bunch of other stuff that we've put on top of them without necessarily providing for the infrastructure that would help them there, plus the authority to actually carry through on some of those things. I think our system can do everything it wants to inside of the public system. I see no reason to dismantle or weaken the public education system. I really believe in it. The same as in a publicly delivered healthcare system, a public healthcare system. So if you want charter schools, great, that's fine. Not for the purpose of competition, but for the purpose of widening an experience for children, great. Do it inside of the public system. We've certainly done that in Edmonton. I absolutely loathe funding private schools. And I think that the funding should be drawn back from all the private schools to zero. And that funding should be redirected into the public system. Really, I think our public system is quite good. It can be better. And that's, I think, my frustration and probably your frustration is how do we make it better? And one of the things is an emphasis and an understanding and a support for public education, which I really have a passion for public education, and our current government does not share. This makes me a little crazy because for the government to somehow tell us that they can agree or they're going to leave in place an agreement on a funding structure for teacher salaries and that somehow won't affect the total amount of money that's available in the system. The government, clearly they knew that this was going to be played against the teachers, and they love to create those divisions between one group and a second group that are working in the area. So I think teachers are not paid enough. I think they do a great job, and I have no problem recognizing them as professionals. Education has to be funded. Education has to be recognized as an asset that you can take to the bank. Funding education gives you creative, knowledgeable, educated thinkers that can take your economy, your society, your culture through into the 21st century. So we have to fund education if we want it, and I'm tired of giving a set amount and saying, okay, produce as much education as you can for those few dollars. I would prefer, there's two things I think you should say. We want X level of excellency. You go and hit that and we will pay for it. And I think that's how education should be funded. I also think it's how healthcare should be funded. We can work with other things around that to change the funding models, but ultimately, excellence in education is the key to us being successful. I think professional associations like the Alberta Teachers Association scares the bejesus out of the Tory government, because you are professionals and you are a union, and that's that collective bargaining process and that strength in numbers really scares them, because you are a powerful force and they would like to take you apart. I don't have a problem with the association dividing into something like a regulatory college and a union-based association taking care of its members. I think that's worked all right in healthcare, but I can see no reason why we would want to dismantle the union support base and the collective bargaining process. I think that helps you, and I think it should stay in place. I believe in a collective bargaining process. I think it protects workers. It gives us a better society. We wouldn't have a 5-day work week right now, or even public education, had it not been for an organized labor movement in times past. So we should understand where that kind of thing came from. You know, the last piece of that is stable, predictable funding, because trying to do a budget when the government has been sickeningly slow in delivering the budget amount through to the school boards and to the individual schools is really poor financial management, frankly, and is playing a bit of a false game. And that ends up costing the students. Because let's face it, you only do grade 6 once, or most kids only do grade 6 once. And if there wasn't enough money that year, oh well, that kid's gone. And they're not going to do grade 6 or have that experience again. So whatever happens, we have to be able to find a way to give a funding model that does give some predictability and sustainability. And you know what? That is political will. It's just a champion who really believes, and a government who really believes in education, which would be the Liberals under my leadership.